Yo, welcome back to SeaBed. Last time, Sachiko hung out at the hotel with Nanae and some of the kids that were staying there, I guess. Or I guess they're living in the village and they just come up to the mansion to hang out. And then at the end, Narasaki showed up out of nowhere and talked to us for a bit. And we elucidated Takako again. So yeah. This one. Nursery rhyme. Okay, wait. What's the context of this again? Okay, this is the dream that Sachiko is having while she's asleep after the conversation she had with Narasaki. Okay. Oh yeah, and I had this image on because I theorized last time that Mayuko and Sachiko are the same person because they look identical and they have the same eye color, and Sachiko made that weird offhand comment about cutting her hair. So yeah. I could hear the flow of a river beside me. It was sometimes interrupted by the rocks in its stream knocking together. Oh. You look different. I'm talking about Sachiko. She looks different than the last time we saw her in the school uniform, right? Because last time she had really short hair when we saw her, but this time it's a bit longer and it's like tied up. So I guess this is like, I mean, this would have to be like at least like a year later or something. The last time we saw her, I'm thinking of is the scene where they found the 4-leaf clover, or she gave the 4-leaf clover to Takako for her birthday. The sky turns orange as the sun goes down. Takako, walking a few steps in front of... I'm not going to sing, by the way. Walking a few steps in front of me on our way back from the rental store, was singing a tune at the rental store. It wasn't exactly orange, though. It was more like that time during dusk when you could barely make out the faces of people walking on the other side of the street. Do you mean like a movie rental store? That would put it at a pretty specific point in time. Let's go home together with the crows. I think you're forgetting the lyrics. Huh? It was an old song, long since banished to the cobwebbed corners of our minds. I was pretty sure I hadn't heard her sing it since kindergarten. She made another attempt. Let's go home together with the crows. It's still the same. Huh? She started mumbling again. Listening to her humming, I tried recalling how she used to sing that song. Takako kept shaking her shoulders in tune with the song, her ponytail dancing with every motion. The bells at the mountain temple ring. What are these sounds? Let's go home with our hands joined together. Let's go home along with the crows. Let's go home along with the crows. Takako turned to me and smiled. Is she like mumbling the lyrics of the parts of the song she doesn't know? Is that what this is supposed to be? Yeah, that's how it went. Walking ahead of me, she began her song again. I tried to join her in a small voice, as embarrassing as it was. The sky turns orange as the sun goes down. The bells at the mountain temple ring. Let's go home with our hands joined together. Let's go home along with the crows. Your song doesn't rhyme, I'm afraid to say. I was glad it was actually dusk. Dusk, the time when it was too dark to see anyone's face. It was the time of day when one had to question who anyone was. Okay. Man, I guess I should have kept going for 2 more minutes last time. Wait, it's yellow now. That's the first time we've seen that yellow. Huh. Because I've been theorizing that that little animation we see in between chapters represents whose character's POV we're following. Because with Sachiko it was like blue, with Takako it was green, and with Narasaki it was red. And at the beginning of this chapter it was a mix of blue and green, and this time it's yellow. Hang on, let me... So I looked up what you get when you mix green and blue. Sorry. I'm absolutely terrible at color mixing. Like, I don't know how people can like intuitively know that stuff. Like, to me, I have to just memorize it because it's not something that's intuitive to me at all. So I wondered if maybe blue and green made yellow or something, but no. So I don't know what the yellow is supposed to be. Is it like because it's a memory, like it's a flashback? I don't know. Because I guess they were talking about dusk, and dusk is kind of yellow. I don't know. I slipped into the clothes I prepared for myself last night and left the room. Yeah, you can see she's in the other wing compared to when Takako was here. Because from Takako's POV, the hallway was like on the left, like vertically, and here it's on the right. Sunlight filtered in through the east-facing window of the corridor. The east-facing window of the corridor, which would mean that you're in the west wing. Yes, because you're looking in at the garden in the middle. The window frames and the branches of the oak tree both cast a shadow on the red carpet. I don't see the carpet, but I'll take your word for it. Good morning. Upon opening the door to the cafeteria, I noticed Nana is standing behind the counter. Oh, you got your hair done up. She looked at- wait, what did you- did your hair like Takako? She looked at me over her shoulder, her tied-up hair drifting across the air in sync with the motions of her head. Morning. You want something to eat? Some bread and coffee, if possible. Roger that. I picked out the seat closest to direct sunlight. It was warm to the touch. Though I'd already heard them back when I was combing my hair in my room, the sound of chirping birds outside was even louder here. I glanced out the window and saw a group of Japanese white eyes assembled around a puddle of water. Surrounded by fallen leaves, it had accumulated below one of the oak's branches. Another bird jumped down from a tall branch and straight into the water. As I observed its little wings splashing around in the puddle, the fragrance of coffee reached my nose. You're not used to seeing white eyes? I assume that's like a type of bird. Nane placed a cup of coffee in front of me. It had a black exterior and a yellow interior. For a short while, I observed the little white bubbles above the black surface accumulating near the edge of the cup. Thank you. I'd often see them up in the trees back when I still lived in the countryside, but they're a rare sight where I live now. Seeing them here made me a little nostalgic. Well, they show up quite frequently around here. Naya sat down in front of me and picked up her cup, a streak of steam arising from the hot liquid. I could see her smile beyond that misty veil. She appeared excited. You seem to be in good spirits. Did something happen? I trailed my finger along the corner of my lips. Yeah, I learned how to make some extra special coffee from a cafe in town, and it turned out really well today. You guys are just coffee addicts, aren't you? Is it drip coffee? Yeah, it's a special way that minimizes the brewing time too. Nana drew her cup to her upper lip, and after savoring the smell for a while, took a sip. Yeah, it's pretty good if I do say so myself. I'd say mine can pretty much give the cafe a run for its money at this point. I'm not a coffee guy at all. I don't get it. I feel like coffee is just like, I mean, obviously this is wrong because a ton of people drink coffee, but for me, it just seems like people just drink coffee because it's like a social custom to drink coffee, but it doesn't actually taste good or like, is it even true that it makes you like feel awake in the morning? I feel like that's just something that's like so ingrained in people's routine that they just do it without even thinking about it. I don't know. Now I took another sip, letting the corner of her lips curl up again. I grabbed my own cup, enjoying its warmth. The actual taste was a bit more bitter than what I usually preferred in coffee, but it was still pretty good. You have to do the dripping at calculated intervals and make it strong. Like this, she began twisting her right wrist in the air. Meanwhile, she pushed a plate with little bottles of sugar and cream closer to me with her left hand. I picked up the cream bottle and added some to my coffee, making a white marble-like pattern appear on the surface of the liquid. I stuck my spoon into it and stirred until it disappeared. As I observed Nanae's gestures, I spotted the girl from yesterday passing through the stone-laden path beyond the window. The girl from yesterday? You mean the blue-haired girl? She had appeared from the east side of the building and soon disappeared beyond the west. Okay. Which girl from yesterday? Or do you mean the librarian? Or someone else? Or do you mean like the girl you saw through the window for like a brief moment? What are you looking at over there? Nanae turned her head around to look at the garden. I was just spacing out. Nanae turned back to me and slightly leaning her head forward, took another sip from her cup. I watched her twin tails flutter around her shoulders. She looked upwards, her gaze meeting mine. Does it look weird? She traced her hand along her hair. I think it suits you. You like twin tails? I can keep it like this tomorrow as well if you want. Kind of weird that you're copying my dead girlfriend's hairstyle when I came here to like forget about that, but you know, you do you. Someone I know used to wear her hair like that. Oh, I see. You looked really similar to her from behind, so I got startled a bit. Except for not having a very bright green hair, but you know. She finished the contents of her cup and placed it on the saucer with a barely audible clang. Nene stared into the bottom of her cup for a few moments before finally looking up at me. Is something wrong? She must have been important to you. As I gave her a puzzled look, Nana explained that she never really thought too deeply about individual hairstyles, nor did she associate them with specific people. I see. The sound of clanging dishes dominated the room. Nana hummed a song as she washed the dishes behind the counter. You can't have that many dishes, I'm the only person here. I asked if I could help and was refused. With nothing to do but listen to the monotone sound in my seat, I felt a drowsiness overcome me. I shifted my gaze to the pictures on the wall. One of them showed Nana's aunt smiling under an oak tree. Can you show me what she looks like, please? Another had a girl struggling with the bucket handle on the well. Bucket, you say? In the third, there were a group of men wearing work uniforms in front of a massive, modern-looking mansion. My eyes paused on that picture. The entrance to that mansion looked awfully familiar. Oh, this? Nana, who seemed to have returned while I was busy inspecting the pictures, pointed at the one I'd been looking at. That's an old photograph of this place, she remarked as she sat down in her seat. I turned towards her. There was a streak of sunlight right where she sat down, making Nana narrow her eyes. The weather's nice today. Alright, tell me if you decide to take a nap. I'll change the sheets in your room. Thank you. But I'm not planning to, so feel free to change them whenever you want. There seems to be a lot of people in that picture. What's the story behind it? Yeah, please tell me. I returned my gaze to the photograph on the wall. Oh, it's a group picture of all employees from when this place was opened. Apparently, the original plan was to take a picture of the mansion after they restored it, but photographs were rare in those times, so everyone came to see how it all worked, and they eventually ended up taking a group picture. What do you mean after they restored it? So it was already existing, but then they just, like, gave it a makeover? This is me, by the way. Then I pointed at the beautiful woman in the kimono sitting on a stool. The baby in her arms was looking straight at us. You have a kid? Then I sounded the laugh when I told her she looked cute. Oh, no, she's the baby. Okay. Well, all children are. It's okay, I can still see the resemblance. Thanks. I'll take that as a compliment. She made a mischievous smile. Oh. Okay, hang on. Mine is black and white, so we can't see their hair color. Is that really Nanae? That looks like a boy, doesn't it? With the hair? I mean, I don't know. Doesn't this woman look a lot like the librarian that we saw for like a split second? I didn't go back in the recording to look at that woman's sprite. Maybe I should have. And this looks like exactly like Nanae. Like, yeah. I returned my eyes to the picture. That's your mother holding you, right? Yep, we look alike, don't we? Yeah, you do actually. To tell the truth, the current Nanae looked more like that woman in the kimono than the baby in her arms. That's what I said. Are you lying to us, Nanae? Are you like a vampire or something? Still, despite the resemblance in their features, there was a completely different air about them. The kimono-clad woman had an expressionless face, reminding me more of a doll than a human being. I felt as if she was gazing into empty space rather than the camera. Everyone else in the picture was flashing broad smiles. What do you mean everyone else? There's one other person. I guess they're supposed to be like all the construction workers or whatever that we just aren't seeing right now. Making her somewhat gloomy demeanor stand out quite a bit. What are you looking at? Naya's voice jerked me back to reality. The fact that we're not seeing all the construction workers, but we're seeing this woman, makes it even more suspicious. Everyone looks pretty happy in this picture. Nana directed her gaze to the photograph. Yeah, I think the economy was on a rise back then, so that could be the reason. No, it doesn't look like Sachiko, really. Sachiko's hair is a lot more neat. I think the economy was on the rise back then, so that could be the reason. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. When you start thinking like that, is it a sign of age? She made a little bitter face. Oh, come on, you still look young. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. A smile returned to Nanae's face. The woman holding a baby in her arms looked at us through narrowed eyes. Everyone around her looked like they were having the time of their lives. I mean, she's smiling a bit. She's not completely expressionless. Even without colors, I could tell the picture was taken on a sunny afternoon. They probably broke into lively chatter as soon as the photo session was over. Yeah, the fact that a picture taken when Nanae was a baby is black and white also gives us a good estimate of the time period. It's a good picture. My eye stopped on the woman wearing a cook's uniform. Yeah, please tell me about her. She looks like the person I saw in the library. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's my auntie. She works here now. And she... Really? She didn't look that much older in this Pride, I don't think. And this must have been a while ago. You've got quite the keen eye. I could see the resemblance, though in this picture she was still a young woman. Okay, sure. She wore a light-colored apron with frills over a dark undershirt. Okay, so the librarian girl is your aunt. Okay. Hang on, I need to... Was she a cook? Yeah, she was a chef, in fact. And you already know how darn good she is. She spent a long time training overseas in her younger days, from Spain to Italy and China. Just give her the ingredients and she'll fix you anything. Here, look at those pictures. Further down, there were a couple of pictures obviously taken overseas. An even younger version of Nanae's aunt was standing near a western-looking storefront. The place's metal signboard sported a relief in the shape of a fish, as well as the phrase "Lost Gas" spelled out on it. The whole thing had a very restaurant-like feel to it. Lost Gas? That's the name of the restaurant? That seems strange. In another picture, she was eating something that looked like a kiwi in front of a pair of massive castle gates. That's impressive. But then, why did she come back? My mother recruited her when she founded this inn, and now she works at the library for some reason. They were childhood friends as far as I know. I see. Why isn't she making me breakfast instead of you? Owning a mansion and running it as an inn was an old dream of theirs. My mother saved up the money while my auntie perfected her cooking skills. When I was little, she talked my ears off about how many challenges and hurdles she had to overcome. They must have been good memories. Yeah, I can tell. She always smiles while talking about the past, even though I've already heard her stories a million times over. Nanae gazed into the distance, her mind seemingly returning to the past. Are there no pictures of you? There should be one from when I was still a kid. Nanae looked around, searching for the picture in question. Ah, here it is. The photo showed a young Nanae with her hair cut short, standing atop the oversized root of some large tree. Can I see it? She was holding an insect net high above her head while carrying a basket filled with all the critters she'd caught. You seem to have grown up into quite an energetic child. It's pretty embarrassing now that I look at it. Okay, I guess I can't see. You like insects? I might have in the past. I liked how drone beetles sparkled in the sun and found the wings of butterflies really pretty. Just like how Miyuko liked butterflies, right? Because she saved the caterpillar that was near the flowers. She brought it back to her room, right? I was reading Fabre's Souvenirs Entomologiques. Souvenirs Entomologiques, is that French? At the time, which only added more fuel to the fire. To be honest, I liked all animals, from birds to fish. Well, you know how kids are, they tend to be fascinated by anything that moves. I never liked insects much. What did you play with when you were a child? Dolls. Alone? At first, yeah. I might have ventured outside more had I been living at a nice place like this. The young Nanae was surrounded by trees, bushes, and all sorts of other greenery, almost like she was in the middle of some uncharted, untamed forest. Yet the ancient moss-covered tree coiled roots thick enough to be mistaken for trees themselves, forming a natural maze worthy of exploring. Each layer of the mountainous terrain, resembling a naturally formed falling water house, was filled to the brim with crystal clear water. What the fuck is a falling water house? Falling Water is a house museum in Stewart Township in the Laurel Highland of southwestern Pennsylvania. Okay, that's no way that's what you're actually talking about. Is it? I guess it is, because that's the only thing, because it's Falling Water and it's capitalized, so it has to be talking about the specific house I'm looking at. That seems like that's a very specific reference. Or maybe this is really well known and I'm just stupid, I don't know. Okay. Oh, that's right, there are hot springs in that place. Wanna check them out one of these days? Sounds like a good idea. It's a promise then. Then I, leaning against the table with her elbow, stuck out her pinky towards me. That brings back memories. I lifted my hand from my knees, entwining my pinky with hers. If I break this promise, I will swallow 1,000 needles. If I break this promise, I will swallow 1,000 needles. And our fingers are cut. And our promise is sealed. Cool. Huh? Eh? At the same time, the clock from the lobby began chiming the hour. Oh, I didn't realize it was so late. You have work to do? Yeah. You planning to be here for a while? I don't really have any plans. I guess I'll stay here for now. I see. Feel free to take anything that's behind the counter if you ever get thirsty. Thanks. Good luck with work. And they gave me a small nod and left the room. Oh, hello. Where did you sleep, Narasaki? Please tell me. I guess the wind found its way into the room, making Narasaki's hair flutter as she stared down at the chessboard. The afternoon sky was covered in a pale, grayish hue. I could see dense clouds drifting away from beyond the mountains. It's gotten pretty cold. Can I close the window? Go ahead. Narasaki answered without looking away from the board, keeping her palm on her chin. The final breeze that snuck inside as I was closing the window made a high-pitched, flute-like sound due to its passage of entry getting narrower, which ceased the moment I finished. I latched the window and returned to the table to meet Narasaki's gaze. Ooh. It's your turn, she declared. I reached out to the queen and took her pawn without sitting down. Okay, hang on, let's analyze the board state. Okay, I can't tell any of the pieces apart from the pawns. Like, what is this? Is this a bishop? Yeah, it looks like a bishop that came from here. Is that a black piece all the way over there? Or is that just a weird shadow? I don't know, I can't tell what the fuck is going on. The board let out a pleasant clang as I placed my piece on its surface. I sat down, crossed my legs, and once again picked up the book I'd been reading. The board and the pieces Narasaki brought with her were smaller than usual and were made of glass. The two opposing sides, rather than being black and white, were crafted from transparent and opaque glass. Narasaki's hand stopped midway to her knight. She then reached out towards one of her pawns. Sorry, my phone is ringing. Yet once again, her hand stopped and returned to her chin and said, "A black carousel let out an ear-piercing cry. I think you could have done some serious damage with the first move. Yeah, but I don't think it would have been enough to break through your wall. If you go this way, my lineup will get to the point faster. If you attack, though, you could take my rook at the front." I tilted my book slightly to see the board. Another cry of the cat reverberated across the mountain range outside. Cry of the kite? What? I glanced at the grey sky but saw no birds from this angle. I wonder if it's going to rain today. Then maybe I should do this. The radio said the latter half of today would be cloudy with weak rain. Narasaki's knight moved forward, taking on my pawn. Did you notice any changes in your mood after coming here? Not really. You're not feeling anxious or ill for no apparent reason? I felt pretty calm. You're asking me because it's going to rain? It's not related to the weather, just... The battle on the board was proceeding just as we had foreseen. I heard the cry of a bird again, but this time it sounded closer. Raising my face, I saw a blue bird on the windowsill outside. You sure hear birds a lot in this place. They seem to pasture this area often while migrating during winter. The mountain here is full of evergreen trees which must attract them. Migratory birds? It's hard to believe something that small can actually cross the sea. I've heard they can put half of their brains to sleep as they close one of their eyes. This allows them to keep flying for long periods of time without rest. Don't they just ride the wind as they're sleeping? Really? Narasaki moved one of her pieces and considered the bird beyond the window with curious eyes. The little thing let out a cry and jumped around on its thin legs a few times. Hearing Narasaki move a piece again, I shifted my gaze back to the board. Although at the cost of a few pieces, she managed to prevent her king from being surrounded and was now gearing up for a new attack. I began reaching out towards one of the pieces I failed to evacuate in time, but stopped. I realized that if I took it, I'd be opening a way for Narasaki's queen to get inside the back of my formation. Narasaki raised one of her eyebrows in an obviously exaggerated way. Make it look like you aren't thinking anything, but you're actually conniving and laying traps all over the board. That's so like you. Haha, not at all, it was just coincidence. I realized that Narasaki was gazing out the window, so we spent a short while watching the little bird together. Its round, almost ball-like frame made it obvious that the bird had not been lacking in nutrition as of late. Are you calling it fat? It kept fluttering its wings with much vigor. It would let out a chirp or two once in a while. Would you say it's chirping or just crying? It is somewhere in between. Narasaki tried imitating the bird's voice. I spent a few moments comparing her attempt to the actual bird. By the way, how many days did you take off again? About 10. I'm planning to spend a week or so here. I see. What about you? It's about the same. Okay, are you just saying that because you want to stay with us? Narasaki pulled out a scheduled notebook in the pocket of the coat dangling on a nearby chair. It took a few seconds looking at it over before answering me. I see you brought that with you. Oh, this thing? Narasaki gestured towards me with the notebook in hand. No, the one that's speaking out from her pocket. I pointed at another notebook in her coat. It was the same one she used to jot down things during my examinations. Oh, I thought it might come in handy. It was my turn to make a move. But instead of touching my piece, I asked Narasaki what I couldn't yesterday. You have time today, so why don't you tell me about what's been bothering you about my condition? Yes, please, please, please tell me. Narasaki shrugged her shoulders. It's nothing overly serious, really. I was just thinking about your symptoms a little. Thinking? What do you mean? Remember how I said they weren't interfering with your life? Yes. I'm not hallucinating without letting anyone else know. That's right. I was just thinking about exactly what kind of hallucinations you were seeing. The Takako you see in your mind participates in conversations with the people in your office and does her job without fail, right? And it all felt natural to the extent you didn't realize there was something off. I just got curious about how it must look to you. It seems almost like another reality exists within you. Another reality, you say? Narasaki paused to catch her breath after that long speech. I'm not sure how to answer that. Well, I have no idea exactly what you're seeing, but I think we've had this discussion before. I'm more interested in how you process the conversations between Takako and your other colleagues. Understanding that might help shed more light on your exact position. My position? Yeah, for example, Narasaki placed her scheduled notebook on the chessboard and began drawing some sort of graph. Oh, not your fucking graphs again. Did you really need to make a graph for this? She pointed at the circle around the words "not real" and said that it existed only inside my head. That's the world where you thought Takako was still around. And reality is the world where you have remembered that she's not. I made a slight nod as I looked at the graph. Narasaki's pen pointed at the not real bit again. You lived in this one for at least 2 years, and in order to avoid contradictions, you changed the dates of your trip, as well as that of Takako's disappearance. And your current position is probably somewhere around here. Narasaki pointed at the tunnel-like sign between the two bubbles. The site closer to reality, to be precise. You fixed your memories and are on your way to return here, but you haven't done so completely, not yet. You still keep seeing little snippets of your surreal world when something triggers it. That's how I interpret your condition, at least. Well, thank you for the very useful diagram, Narasaki. And those triggers are things that remind me of Takako, correct? I would say so. The best way to get over this is spend enough time in an alien land until you're completely back in reality. We can go hang out with the homosexual aliens that we talked about in Italy. I realized I could no longer hear the chirping of the little bird. I glanced at the window. The bird had already flown away. Narasaki was watching the empty window too. By the way, did you plan anything specific for this trip? Not really. Good. With no plans, you can relax without thinking too much. Of course, you can always use your brain when you feel like it. Watching from a distance can help you notice new things in your life. At this time of the day, I would usually be in my office working. I blink and consider the chess pieces on the table. But now I was playing a game with Narasaki in a place I'd never seen before. She was certainly right. I felt more relaxed here compared to when I'd visit her at the clinic during work. I had a pretty rigid schedule near the end of the year. We received tons of orders last year, so the office was basically on fire during those final days. Now that I thought about it, I might have taken on too many jobs because I calculated Takako as being part of the workforce. That's pretty funny. I wonder if I'd unknowingly done something bad to my 2 colleagues. Whoa, stop, time out. What do you mean 2 colleagues? You mean to your 3 colleagues, right? Inukai, Fumi, and An, right? Did you forget about An? Your 2 colleagues? Okay, hang on. So, did you forget about An also? Or does An not work here anymore? Did she only work here for a bit, or is it because she was hallucinating An as being Takako, so now that she's trying to forget about Takako, she's also not seeing An anymore? In some weird way? Unclear. But I mean, this is definitely important. On top of it, since I realized I was seeing things that couldn't have been real, I ended up skipping work and going to Narasaki's clinic instead. It was only then I started realizing that I'd actually been hallucinating for years. That said, I managed to both finish all my duties by the end of the year and fix up some of my broken memories at Narasaki's clinic. And in my mind's eye, it felt like it all happened in seconds. I stifled a sigh, to which Narasaki reacted with a small nod. Honestly, it was pretty incredible how I kept that charade up for over 2 years without anyone putting me into a hospital. With that mystery cleared up, I shifted my thoughts to what I was supposed to do now. So you're saying the symptoms will eventually go away on their own? That's what I believe at any rate. And you also believe I had a specific reason and some sort of goal in mind for conjuring up an alternate reality in my head, is that correct? Well, that about sums it up, yes. The corners of Narasaki's lips scrolled up. I see your mind's back to being in full travel. Thank you. That said, you should leave the complicated stuff to me instead of focus on relaxing. Treating you is my job, and if I find something new, I'll inform you right away. Are you okay with that? Yes. Anyway, I'll wait speaking about this unless something new comes up. Meanwhile, you should concentrate on enjoying your vacation. As you say, Doctor. Narasaki chuckled. It's the first time you called me that. Do you like it, Doctor? Ooh, are you flirting? Narasaki crossed her legs again and said it wasn't too bad. After that, we resumed our game and continued playing until we got bored. Saying she wanted to look around the area, Narasaki got up and left my room. You didn't finish the game? Who won? You gotta finish the game. As I looked up at the oculus window in the center of the library, the winter sky beyond it was completely dark, despite it still being evening. The lights on the library wall lit up, banishing the shadow to a small area in the middle of the room and the corners of the ceiling. Everything around me was now illuminated in warm colors. The young girl sat at the desk located deeper into the room, reading a book. Holding the sizable book with both hands on its sides, the girl had it placed vertically on the desk before her, essentially preventing me from seeing her face. Okay, it's the blue-haired girl. I continued walking by the bookshelves, my ears clicking against the wooden floor. The book had the girl's complete and undivided attention, even when I approached her. Hello. Her small shoulder jerked up a bit as I addressed her from behind. She turned her head around, her pale eyes glaring at me from below. Won't your parents be worried if you stay out this late? She regarded me with indignant eyes. I'm 33 years old, what do you mean? I could see the light of distress in her eyes, much too intense for her age. However, the light soon vanished and she returned her gaze to the book. Well now. The girl's desk was littered with various... Oh wait, I'm Narasaki, sorry, I literally just noticed. I'm Narasaki right now, okay. The girl's desk was littered with various other books and notebooks. The girl closed the book and reached out towards the other end of the table, her ponytail dancing in the air behind her. Pulling one of the notebooks to herself, she opened it and began scribbling something diagonally, completely ignoring the ruled lines. I glanced at the other nearby notebook that was open and saw the bird's eye schematic of some building. Can I take a look? The girl, still in the middle of writing, gave me a cursory glance and responded with a brief nod. I picked up one of the notebooks and began flipping through its pages. There were the plans of the inn next door, with each page detailing not only its general measurements, but the furniture and various other little things as well. Okay. I see you spent a decent amount of time on this. Upon closer inspection, I realized that the other books on the desk were all related to the history of the mansion. There were a number of old informational pamphlets and newspaper clippings scattered around as well. Are you doing this for a school project or something? I don't think I've ever seen anyone go this far for a simple homework assignment though. It's just my hobby. Oh, that's one peculiar hobby in this day and age. In lieu of a reply, I heard only the shuffling of paper and the sounds of scribbling. Looking up at the ceiling, I spotted a star beyond the oculus window. I realized the scribbling had stopped. Do you live close by? Who are you? Why do you keep talking to me? Irritated, the girl closed the scrapbook she'd been looking at and reached out to one of the pamphlets. I'm nobody special, but it's only natural for adults to be worried about children. Is that so? She kept turning the pages, but her pen remained still. I turned the page of the notebook I myself was holding. Well, I think the layout of that room has changed a bit. I placed the notebook on the desk and pointed at the guest room on the second floor. How do you know? That's the room I'm staying at. The girl gave me a suspicious look over her shoulder. The light from the lamp inside intensified as it began to grow even darker outside, illuminating her face. Her somewhat big, slanted eyes sparkled black in the artificial light, revealing more about her thoughts and her soft-spoken demeanor. Her nose looked a bit too refined for someone of Asian descent, and also her bright blue hair. Her lips, pink like flower petals, formed a line in a gesture of rejection. She sat with her back straight against the backrest of a chair that was slightly too big for her. There was a certain sense of sophistication to the way she moved. The girl looked me up and down, her deep eyes eventually settling on my face. The sun's already down. Have you contacted your family about being late? Is that all you came here for? Said the girl, narrowing her eyes. Her gesture resembled my friend's. Which friends? I'm looking for a lost item. Have you seen a silver bookmark anywhere? It has a clover-shaped cutout at the top. The girl turned a few pages of her scrapbook and handed me the bookmark that was there. I found it on the desk closest to the window. I thought it could come in handy, so I put it in my book. Was that Sachiko's bookmark? Thanks, my friend accidentally left it there, you see. Okay, yeah. Being made of metal, the bookmark had some weight to it. The borders were decorated with an avi pattern, with the top parts sported a carving of a four-leaf clover. The orange light of the room was reflected on its surface as I tilted it. By the way, about your research, have you already talked to the person who's usually at the counter here during the day? The girl picked up another pamphlet and began reading it. She's the caretaker of the inn you're investigating. She's been working here for quite a long time, so I imagine she could tell you a lot of things that you wouldn't find written down. How do you know this, Narasaki? The girl remained silent and turned back to her scrapbook. I can ask her if you want. In exchange for going home for today? I like that idea. The girl closed her notebook. I'll be going then. How do you know that? About the library worker. Blue-haired girl researching the mansion. Also, she didn't look Asian, she said. Her nose didn't look Asian. Is that implying that she's mixed or something? Huh. I don't know what's her deal. Good morning, Sachiko. The weather sure is nice today, isn't it? Why don't we do it here now, seeing how it's so warm? I pressed my fingers against my temples. They still ached from all the alcohol. I was still sitting on the bed in my pajamas when Narasaki entered the room and passed by me. She parted the curtains, making the light reach the tip of my toes. You just left your room unlocked? I glanced at the window and saw her moving the table with a chessboard on it to a spot with better sunlight. After that, she pulled up a chair and sat down in front of the table. You promised to help me kill time until Miss Nane's aunt drops by the library. I did? I don't remember. Well, I do. Where does all your energy come from? Well then, let's see. Do you remember where we left off? Not really. Was I supposed to write it down? I was just checking. I'll go get changed. After pushing aside the sheets covering my legs, I climbed out of bed. From behind, I heard the glassy sound of the chess pieces being moved. I remembered how Narasaki sacrificed her knife to open an attack on my left side at the beginning of the match. We returned to a stalemate as soon as I fenced it off, though. I see you've finally woken up. Did you come to my room this early on purpose? Also, pretty sure stalemate has a pretty specific definition in chess. Like, I don't think you can say we returned to a stalemate. Maybe you can, I don't know. Did you come to my room this early on purpose? The corners of Narasaki's lips curled upwards. It was worth a try, I suppose. Anyway, I would have never guessed you were so good at chess. I'm not that good. You seem quite used to the game, though. Takako was really obsessed with it at one point. She pretty much forced me to play with her all the time. We didn't see that. Was she better than you? At first, I kept losing, but I'd say we were about equal by the time we quit. Oh? Why did you quit? Because she died. Takako got bored of it. Oh, okay. I see. Narasaki smiled. If you two were about equal, that means winning this would make me the best. I wonder about that. What do you mean? Narasaki asked as she continued to move her pieces. Was Narasaki pointing to distract me from the game with small talk, or was there another, healthier reason for her sudden curiosity? I kept playing against the same opponent all the time. I knew her strong points and most of their usual tactics. I could easily predict how the first halves of a match would usually go. But with a new opponent, I have to keep observing every move and prepare myself for the unexpected. Narasaki released her chin and moved her piece with a thoughtful I see. As I couldn't see her face, I wasn't completely sure what that I see meant. I frowned and moved my own piece. Narasaki did the same. Then it was my turn again. The way things looked, we were nearing the endgame. By the way, I met a girl when I went to look for your bookmark in the library. One with curly hair? Exactly. Do you realize how much she resembles you when you were younger? Oh, okay, so that's what she meant when she said that she resembled a friend. She's talking about Sachiko. She does? Narasaki placed her hand on her chin, falling deep in thought. What part of us is similar? The way you look at people. She glanced up at me for a short moment and then uttered, "Yeah, you two really do look alike," as if to reaffirm her own statement. Are you literally the same person? Is that is that possible? As our game neared its end, Narasaki began singing a song from an old movie, Daisy Bell. A song written in 1892? Jesus. That is old. Okay. Oh yeah, it's the... Okay, yeah. I do know this song. Wait, isn't it... This is famous for being, the first song sung by a computer, right? Yeah, this was the song in 2001: A Space Odyssey also because of that. Okay, is that supposed to be a hint? Is that implying that we're in a simulation? Or is that implying that Narasaki is a computer? Is she a robot? Have I cracked the case? Okay. I mean, that's definitely an interesting detail. Maybe she's just a big Kubrick fan. Are you giving up? Not even close. The pieces kept moving on the board with short clangs. Suddenly, an irritating knock on the door threw my mind into a jumble. It's open. Oh, hi, Takako. Narasaki responded. I checked my wristwatch, but there still was some time until noon. The door slowly opened, revealing a doll-like girl. Oh, hello. She wore a grey blouse and a long blue skirt. Its hem lingered maybe only 10 or so centimeters above the ground. It was the same girl I met at the library. The girl didn't move any further from the door and instead looked around with suspicious eyes. She looked at me, then at Narasaki, then at the chessboard between us. Do you remember your promise? Asked the girl as she looked at the notebook in her hands. Narasaki answered that she did. There's something I have to ask the person who stays here. You told me I'll be able to speak with her. Narasaki leaned closer to my ear. The girl looked at us with knitted brows. We're planning to meet with Miss Nana's aunt in the afternoon, right? I'd like this girl to come with us if possible. The girl's eyes were transfixed on the silver bookmark on my desk, but she looked away as soon as she realized I followed her gaze and instead glared back at me. I don't mind. Thanks, said Narasaki in a small voice. Are we in the East Wing now? This is the exact same background that we saw from Takako's POV when she left her room. So are we in the East Wing right now? It's quite a mansion, isn't it? Narasaki looked over her shoulder. Oh, and now we're... Okay. Okay, I don't know. I guess I'm not gonna base it off the backgrounds too much because it keeps changing, I guess. But the girl was following us, keeping a moderate distance. Well, that should be a given. The place used to be the residence of an influential family until it was sold off and remodeled following the war. Okay. Even among classic hotels, you'd be hard-pressed to find a place that preserved its historical authenticity to this extent. Mansion used to be owned by a rich family, remodeled and sold after the war. I see, Narasaki remarked. I heard the girl mumble, and I see you know nothing, in a low voice. Got her. Got her ass. As Narasaki made an awkward smile, a voice called out to me from the window. You like always got something different about you, don't you? Like sometimes you're wearing a hat, you've got your hair tied up, you're wearing a cardigan. You always got something about you. I looked outside and saw Nane in a straw hat, leaning her back against a cart. It was filled with little shovels, scissors, and other such equipment. Good morning, Sachika. Weather's looking pretty good today, eh? She tilted her hat and looked at me. Huh? Kozue's with you. Kozue. I didn't realize you knew each other. Nane waved at the girl next to me. She returned her energetic greeting with a blank stare. What are you doing? Just playing with dirt. I'm gonna get some vegetables from the fields. Vegetables from the fields! Just like in the last chapter with Takako. It does make more sense, I feel, for a hotel to be growing vegetables compared to a sanatorium. She patted the back of dirt on the cart. You okay with yam? Oh, it's one of my favorites. The forecast said it's going to rain in the evening now. I know. But I'm not too worried about that. The weather in the mountains is usually all over the place anyway. So what are you up to, Sachika? We were on our way to greet your aunt. Oh, I see. I just passed her in the lobby, so she's probably already waiting for you. I see, thanks. We'll be on our way then. Kazuo's going with you too? Yes. That's quite a peculiar group you have there. Now I'm most curious what you're planning to discuss. Anyway, don't worry too much about my auntie. The more people there are to talk to, the happier she gets. I'm glad to hear that, said Narasaki. Where's the music kind of creepy? Sounds like creepypasta music. After reaching the lobby, we took the left corridor and after just a few steps, found a staircase leading underground to our right. Underground? We descended it in an orderly line. Narasaki, who was at the front, swept out the bottom step and opened another set of doors. The sweet scent of sugar lingered in the air around us. I looked back and saw Kozue grimacing. After walking through a narrow underground corridor for a while, we reached the entrance to a wide room. We stepped over the stone tiles that separated the two areas. What the fuck? There was a round table and 3 chairs in the center of the room. as well as Nana's aunt in an apron. She was setting plates on the table. Oh, you're already here? Hello, said Narasaki as I bowed my head. Nana's aunt said her greetings and considered us one by one. Forgive me, but I'm still in the middle of preparations. Could you wait for me at the table? What are you preparing? I'll be back in a second. She then disappeared into another room with a tray in hand. Before she closed the door, though, I caught a glimpse of an old stove. You're preparing dinner? There's like I'm the only person staying here. Doing as I've been told, I pulled back one of the nearby chairs and sat down. Kazue did the same. Narasaki walked over to the sofa close to the window, and after brushing off some of the accumulated dust, collapsed on it with a sigh. The walls of the underground room were made of stone, with a couple of wooden windows at the top. Through said windows, I could see the tree in the yard. I realized that the stairs next to Narasaki's sofa led straight to it. Kozue, sitting in front of me, glanced around the room with an empty expression. You mean this leads straight outside? So you could have just gone through here instead, or? Sorry to have kept you waiting. I turned around and noticed that Nana's aunt had returned from the other room. I mean, the eye color is kind of the same. No, your eyes are a little darker, and your hair is also way darker than Narasaki's. She came closer to us, wiping her wet hands on her apron. Oh, it's not a problem at all. I'm sorry for bothering you. It's such a busy time. I tried standing up, but Nana's aunt gestured for me to remain seated. I'm not busy at all, and even if I was, I prioritize a good conversation over anything else. The older a person gets, the gloomier the conversations become. So you see, I'm grateful for any chance that lets me spend some time with you youngsters. You don't look old at all, by the way. You look exactly the same age as the rest of us. She walked to the table and sat down in the one chair that still remained open. Nice to meet you. My name is Ake Lily. Ake Lily? Okay. Just call me Lily, okay? Are you a foreigner? Asked Kozue. No, but I've spent a long time there. That's weird, said Kaze in a small voice. She chose not to pry further. Is it? I like my name, though. Lily made a sour face, pretending to be hurt. She turned to me, noticing I'd been looking for a chance to introduce myself as well. You're Sachiko, right? I've heard all about you from Nanae. She kept talking about what a beauty you were after she came back from Rome. It made her so excited when she learned you'd be dropping by for a visit. Narasaki let a suggestive mumble. Maybe she really was trying to copy her or dead girlfriend's hairstyle. She might look all grown up, but she's still a child inside. She's not causing you any trouble, is she? Not at all. If anything, I'm the one causing her trouble, and she's the one looking after me. I think she makes an excellent landlady. You said it, Narasaki added. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, and I've seen you at the library. Your name was, Lily gave Kazue a gentle smile. Kazue returned a blank stare. Did you forget what you came here for? Asked Narasaki. It's Kazue. Kazue looked at me and Narasaki and finally introduced herself. Ah, right, it was Kazue. Now I remember. I'm Lily, the caretaker of this inn. Nice to meet you. Lily placed her palm on the girl's small head, making Kazue's young face contort into a sour expression. Is the kitchen next door? I can smell something tasty from that direction. Lily then turned to me. Yes, that's right. After learning that we hadn't guessed, I decided to put my old baking skills to use, you see. But things are not working out. I prepared things in advance, so it would only take a minute or two to serve you, but I must have lost my touch over the years. Isn't that bad practice? To cook things in advance? You're supposed to cook to serve, right? Gordon Ramsay would yell at you if he was here. Oh, but don't you worry, I'm sure the taste is just fine. Do you happen to like sweet things? I'm just imagining a Hotel Hell episode where Gordon Ramsay stays here now. Pulls out the UV lights and sees all the semen on the wall. Yes. I looked towards the sofa. Lily shifted her gaze to Narasaki as well. I prefer them to spicy food. They'd be perfect with some tea, I'm sure. Okay, so you don't like spicy food either. Interesting. They certainly are. Lily made a smile before turning to Kazue. What about you? I don't know. Kazue made a troubled face. My favorite is a foreign type of pastry. I'm sure you'll like it too. Lily glanced at the clock on the wall. It should be finished by the time this old clock strikes 2. Just to hold on for a little while longer, okay? Is there going to be Spanish pastries? Yes, that's right. How did you know? I saw a picture of you in a Spanish bakery over at the cafeteria. Ah, I see, that certainly brings back memories. I worked at that place for 2 years. That bakery was run by a married couple that would look after me like their own daughter. I mustered the courage to go overseas, but finding proper work wasn't all that easy. I had a work visa, but I couldn't speak the language. And just when my savings were about to run dry, I chanced upon that bakery. The husband spoke English, so we could communicate. I explained to him that I came to Spain to learn about cooking, but had no connections over here, nor any money left over, so he offered to let me live and work at his place. You went all the way overseas to study the culinary arts? You should have went to France instead of Spain if you were doing that. Yes, I wanted to learn about the national cuisine of a number of different countries. After Spain, I also visited France and Germany. Okay, there you go. But I was always planning to return to Japan eventually to work at this inn. You weren't thinking about staying overseas? I made a promise with Nana's mother that we'd build and run an inn together. Nana's mother? That's right, I think it was during one of our high school trips, but we got completely spellbound by this one inn we stayed at in Kyoto. I still remember it like it was yesterday. The look of the place, the amiable staff, the wonderful food, everything was so great it felt almost like I barged into heaven just a tad too early. That's like you made a broad smile. I think I know that feeling. However, as far as I remember, the inns in Kyoto are mostly traditional Japanese-style buildings made out of wood. The detail never had any influence on you two? What charmed us was the otherworldly atmosphere inside. It felt as though we had traveled through time. We had all the choices in the world, so we decided to model our place according to what we liked the most. Nana inherited Mickey's love for Western antiques. Who's Mickey? Is that her mom? I was also quite into fables and old Western houses at the time. We also liked how the cafeteria and the library were designed. But above all else, we were lucky that this mansion belonged to Mickey's family to begin with. Oh yeah, that would help. That would make the choice pretty easy, I think. She inherited it after the passing of her grandmother, and then we remodeled it according to her taste. Kozue, who's absentmindedly looking around the room with a bored expression, suddenly raised her head. By the way, Kozue, didn't you come here to ask her about the mansion? Said Narasaki. Is it true that this place was a hospital before you took over? Ooh. Lily turned to Kozue. I thought everyone had forgotten that rumor by now. In a way, you're right. This place was used as a sanatorium before the war. Before the war? Hang on. Before the war. Before the war. This mansion was used as a sanatorium before the war. So time travel, or... I don't know how else to explain it. Does that even make sense, though? What we saw in the mansion from last chapter? Because from the time period I estimated, it definitely would have been after the war, at least. Oh god, I mean, I'm not that familiar with like pre-World War II technology. But didn't they say they like plugged the record player onto an outlet in the wall? I mean, I guess houses still had power outlets before World War II. I guess it depends on what it looked like. But the vacation they went on, it definitely didn't look like a pre-World War II vacation, right? how How is that even a thing? Were people before World War II, like civilians in Japan, like taking tourist trips to America, like to California to see Alcatraz? Plus, the clothes they were wearing, like during the memory we saw of them going to Alcatraz, the clothes they were wearing seemed really modern, didn't they? And they even talked there was like a black guy with dreads dancing to reggae music. Like, was that a thing before World War II? It said he was dancing to reggae music, right? If this was before World War II, where was the music coming from? Was he? Did he have like a record player and a vinyl that he brought with him to dance to? The way it was described, I assume he had like a boombox or something. No, there's no way. There's just no way. That memory of the trip we saw had to have been like in recent times. So Takako is a time traveler, or let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. But it still belonged to the Fujisaka family. Its master at the time was a doctor, and simply felt like he, not she. He should lend some of his rooms to his long-term patients. I heard there were times when over 10 patients lived alongside him in the mansion. Kazuo listened to Lily's story in complete silence. I heard a grandfather clock in the lobby chime the hour. Well, you look kind of crazy in that spread. You look like a little fucked up. I think the pastry should be ready by now. Let's continue this conversation over some snacks and a cup of tea. Kazuo gave the clock on the wall a quick glance. Lily stood up. I'll help. Thanks. I stood up myself and followed Lily into the kitchen. Still seated, Kazuo picked up a carrier bag from the ground, placed it on her knees, and pulled out a folder packed with documents. She then opened it up and put it on the table. Her bag seemed to be made of cloth and had an engraving of a lily on it. Later that afternoon, the conversation shifted completely to Kazuo and Lily when they began discussing the mansion. Lily brought out an old schematic and spread it out across the table. Kazuo kept pointing at the various parts that piqued her curiosity. Why is this wall in such an inconvenient location? There used to be a rear exit in the western wing. However, it got blocked as we expanded the cafeteria. Okay. No one was using the wall by that time, though. Next, she pointed at the roof. Where does this chimney connect to? You noticed the most interesting of things. It's connected to the stove of this room. You saw the spiral staircase in the lobby, right? That will lead you to the roof. The chimney was originally used for bats. Her hands paused for a second before traveling to polvoron on a white porcelain plate resting on the table. Polvoron. Oh, it's a type of food. Oh, it's a Spanish shortbread. Okay. She picked it up and put it into her tiny mouth. Polvorons looked like rectangular cookies at a glance, but their texture was similar to an Okinawan chinsuko. They also carried the scent of cinnamon. They would almost literally melt in the mouth, while safe with the hard almonds that would crack between your teeth. The cinnamon and the almonds created a very balanced mixture of scents and flavors. Honestly, I'd never eaten anything like this before. Lily told us as the polvorons originated from Andalusia in Spain. Kazuo licked the snow powder off her fingers and after taking a sip of her black tea, placed the cup on its saucer with a light clang. She then glanced at the clock on the wall. Thank you, this is very educational. You're welcome. Is it okay if I come talk to you again? Feel free to visit whenever you like. My doors are always open to such cute guests. Kazuo answered Lily's word with a blank stare. You'd be even cuter if you smiled a bit more. Kazuo paused for a few seconds, seemingly analyzing the idea, then stuffed all her things in her bag and left the room. You can come by anytime. Kazuo, without turning back, climbed the stairs and disappeared from sight. Okay, so obviously she's like investigating the same thing that we as a reader are investigating in her mind, right? Like she's noticed that something fucky's going on with the mansion, right? I'll go see the princess off. Or maybe she's not, maybe she's like a future or a past version of Sachiko or Takako. Probably Sachiko because of what Narasaki said. Maybe she's just like a past version or a future version of Sachiko who is in the body of a child for some reason, who's trying to find out what happened to Takako? Question mark? I'll go see the princess off. Narasaki rose to her feet. Lily and I saw the two off. I wonder if she's planning to be an architect or a designer in the future. It's pretty inspiring to see someone so young start from such an early age. I agree. He's quick on the uptake and is clearly motivated. If only she acted a bit friendlier, she'd be a favorite among teachers. Lily paused there. It seems that she was just about to reveal the reason behind Kazue's behavior. Like Narasaki said before, everyone had their own individual circumstances. Maybe she likes you, but isn't good at showing it. It seems as though she was just about to reveal the reason behind Kazue's behavior. Why would you know that? What? Maybe she likes you, but isn't good at showing it. I feel like you could have given her some even better advice, though. Lily kept her fingers on her teacup's handle without actually lifting up the cup itself. Nana told me you were running a design office in the city. I am. What kind of job is it exactly? It's interesting that you said the city, and like it was obvious which city we were referring to. Because didn't Narasaki say this place was 6 hours away by car? So it seems weird that you would refer to it as the city without naming the city, and we would know what you're talking about. What kind of job is it exactly? I get that question a lot. We meet our clients' demands, whatever they may be. Do you make advertisements for magazines and TV stations? If the project calls for it. I believe it's an expanding business. Radios, newspaper, television. Almost everyone uses them these days. Your workload must be increasing by the day, or am I wrong? You're right that we get more offers nowadays. However, most of the big companies already have their established ties with all advertising agencies, so a relatively new place like ours tends to only get local, small-scale projects. Oh, so it's an old business, actually. Advertising has been around for over 100 years. I see. Are you interested in advertising? Lily waved her hands in front of her face. No, the topic simply came up when I chatted with someone in the town the other day. Living up here in the mountain in the middle of nowhere leaves me with plenty of time to think and ponder, you see. I see. Lily smiled and I couldn't help smiling in return. I heard the grandfather clock chime for the nth time. I think I should be going. Oh, I didn't realize it's gotten so late. Give me just a second. Lily promptly vanished into the kitchen and returned with a basket full of pastries, neatly lined on a piece of kitchen paper sporting a flower design. Ooh, take this with you. Thank you very much. I'll make sure to use them as a midnight snack. You can hand the basket to Nana when she comes to your room. Thank you. Well obtained, your pastries were delicious. It's been so long since I had the chance to chat with a fresh face. I'd be happy to talk some other time, so don't be shy. Alright? I gave her a small bow and headed towards the exit. Miss Sachiko. Yes? I think Nanae likes you very much. She's been working at this inn since she was a child, and with her hobbies being antiques and working in the fields, she never had any friends her age. Would you mind becoming her first? I'm also having fun spending time with her. Maybe more than friends. I see. I suppose that was an empty concern on my part. Lily gave me the warmest smile I'd seen from her today. That's right. She's talked to me again. I forgot about it earlier, but I knew the architect who was responsible for remodeling this place. Her name was Takako. I think Kazu might be interested in meeting him too. Oh, never mind him. His name was Inukai. Could you tell her for me when you see her around? Of course. Well then, see you. I made another bow as Lily waved me goodbye. I'm sorry for holding you up so many times. I'm done now, I promise. Goodbye. Okay. Let's stop here. So obviously we got a bombshell. We got a bomb dropped on us. So the sanatorium, the mansion was a sanatorium before World War II. I assume that's what they mean when they say the war. I assume when they say the war, they mean World War II. Maybe we're in the year fucking 4000 and they're talking about the fifth intergalactic war, for all I know. maybe. Because they haven't explicitly said World War II yet. They've just said the war every time. So we could be way off in the future. But I'm just gonna assume they're talking about World War II. They said the mansion was used as a sanatorium before the war. So it has to be time travel, right? Is there any other way? How could I explain all of this without time travel? What if Takako was a real person who lived back in the day and did attend the sanatorium and like did go through everything that we saw, and she wrote in her notebook, right? She wrote like everything she went through day by day, and maybe like dozens of years later, Sachiko found that notebook that Takako wrote all those years back, and she read the notebook, and maybe like she fell in love with Takako through reading the notebook, and she just imagined Takako in the present day as her girlfriend or something. I don't know. Oh, there's also the whole thing with Fumi reading the book called SeaBed, right? With them repeating the same day over and over again, which also seems to kind of indicate that time travel might be a thing. I mean, it's probably just time travel, right? I mean, even if we assume time travel, and we just accept that, the tips is still kind of hard to explain. Are we saying that the tips are in the future? And Narasaki just, like, buys the mansion in the future and like, repurposes it to be her clinic? And, like, recreates her old clinic one-to-one in the mansion in the future? Maybe. I guess. It would have to be... No, that doesn't even work, though. That doesn't work because of Sachiko's record that Narasaki got from the library. That said that it had been written in for over 10 years, right? I guess that would work if we're saying that that record started when Sachiko first went to Narasaki's clinic. And these tips take place 10 years later? Is 10 years enough time to, like, buy a mansion and repurpose it from a hotel to a clinic? I guess? Maybe? Sure? Maybe that's what's going on. If we assume that, then the problem becomes, why are we acting like Takako just died when she should have died like over a decade ago? Or maybe more. Maybe she died like 100 years ago and Sachiko and her never even met. I want to see a scene from the point of view of Narasaki talking to Takako. Because we haven't seen that, right? We have never seen Narasaki and Takako interact. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like that's probably my best theory so far. The biggest problem in all this is still just Takako, though. Like, what is she? When did she die? In the past, in the present, in the future? So right now my timeline looks like, in the present, like in the main chapter, Takako. Hang on, let me think. No, that doesn't even work. How would she even go back in time? Is there a time machine somewhere that we don't know about? Or did they just happen randomly? Did the universe just will it into existence? That Takako traveled back in time or something? Or in the future also? Maybe she traveled to the future? No, because she already had memories of Sachiko in the sanatorium. feel like there were just too many like weird anachronisms in the sanatorium chapter for it to really take place before World War II, weren't there? Maybe not. Does the car make sense for that to be a pre-World War II car? Maybe? It seems weird that Nanae would be driving the same car like 40 or 50 years later, though. And now you see the flashback just doesn't fit at all. The flashback has to be way more recent. It just has to be. There's no way. Was Taku's chapter during World War II? I don't recall anything that would have even hinted at that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like I say this at the end of every episode, but I don't know. I feel like I don't have enough information yet. Honestly, that's what I'm gonna say. I don't have enough information yet, despite having multiple pages of information on my notes. But it's not enough. I need more clues. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm not locking in anything yet. The one thing I thought about. This is almost definitely not it, but what's her name? The fucking Lily. Lily made a comment about Miki, right? And the way she said it, it seemed like Miki was the name of Nanae's mother. But she also used a nickname to refer to Nanae, right? Instead of calling her Nanae, she called her Nana. So I wonder if Miki is also a nickname. Like a nickname for whatever the real name of Nanae's mom is. Is Nanae's mom Mayuko? Does that make sense? Hang on. Hang on. I mean, Mayuko can't be Nanae's mom if I'm saying that Mayuko is Sachiko. Unless I'm saying that like half the people in the story are also Sachiko. They don't really... It's hard to tell because it's fucking black and white, but the hair doesn't look that much alike. Like, Mayuko has her bangs cut straight, but here the bangs are like more looser. Yeah, they don't really look that much alike, nah. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's where my head is at. I don't know, okay? Alright, I'm stopping here. See you next time.